And we're here today to talk about the Herbivore Round of the Chulai Championship 2022. And we're going to start off with number 1 seed Diplodocus squaring off against number 5 seed Stegosaurus, which is a battle of the tails. Now, you all know I'm a homer. I love sauropods. Diplodocus is my beast. I made it number 1 seed. It's 10 tons, light for a Diplo, but very spry, cut a lot of weight. And it was going up against another tail-heavy assassin in the Thagomizer-wielding Stegosaurus. And to go over the fights, what transpired was these animals are not the brightest of animals. Both immediately turned around and began swinging their tails. The challenge for Stegosaurus is, though the Thagomizer was hitting the tail of Diplodocus, Diplodocus' tail had more reach, was able to hit first. As he backed in slowly but surely, the wider tail began knocking off plates, and the Stegosaurus just couldn't do any damage to Diplodocus. In fact, Diplodocus backed up and did a rear kick, which surprised everyone. I didn't see that coming, and pretty much broke Stegosaurus at that point. And Stegosaurus fell to the ground. Diplodocus turned around and mercilessly up, down, and then waltzed off, not really even sure he was in a fight. But the voting was pretty close, and it only won by about 20%. So in the real world, what do you think of these two animals? Because they would have met. They would have
met. Absolutely would have met. They're both these North American Jurassic-aged animals, you know, and they would have and absolutely did cross paths. What I love about this is they're both using their primary weapon. I mean, like the tails on both of them are the things you always hear about. This is really battle of the butts, you know, and that's what's so cool about it. But really, in so many ways, I think Diplodocus is going to win 9 times out of 10, but it's always going to be a little Pyrrhic. To me, that's how I pictured this one going down, because Diplodocus has the mass. It's big. It's got a lot to put behind it, so to speak. But Stegosaurus is pointier, and I think they're fairly evenly matched, but I still think Diplodocus takes it most of the time just because it's bigger.
And Stegosaurus took out a mammoth, the mastodon, which Mammoth americanum, which I thought was going to win. But when the mastodon charged, Stegosaurus got a lucky headshot and pierced the side of the skull and sent the mammoth over immediately. There was no way Stego could even have reached Diplodocus if Diplodocus had charged forward. The head's too high off the ground. Stegosaurus was at a disadvantage, and the thickest, most powerful part of a Diplodocid is its back end. It's the largest behind of any dinosaur are these big sauropods. So I think the public voted right. I think we would have happened it this way. Like elephants and some rhinos come together at the watering hole, Diplodocus was just having no part of it and said, get out, and Stegosaurus was removed. Now, on the other side of the bracket, we had number 2 seed Triceratops against number 3 seed Ankylosaurus. Now, up to this point, my bracket has been perfect. Unfortunately, I thought the public was going to vote with Triceratops. They voted overwhelmingly, 80 to 20%, on Ankylosaurus winning this battle. And you know what? I think they're right. I just guessed wrong.
I absolutely agree. This is a classic. Triceratops is an offensively built animal, and Ankylosaurus is largely a defensively built animal. It's a tank. You know, you've really got to have your A game set up, but you got to remember Ankylosaurus honed its chops like outdoing T-Rex and just being too hard to bite through. There's not a whole lot that Triceratops is going to bring to the table to really effectively take this animal on. That club, combined with the fact that what are you going to do to this thing? He can just outlast you. He only needs to get one shot in, and then you're done.
And the way the fight went down was something along those lines. Triceratops, they're both 10 tons. The Triceratops went in, and the strategy was, I got to flip this beast over. Because his 2 top weapons, they're pointing up. They can't hurt the Ankylosaur. And that sharp, powerful bite can't penetrate the armor. So what he's left with is that nose horn, hoping to flip. And so he went in to flip, but Ankylosaurus has horizontal spikes that prevented it from being flipped, and defense wins championships. This was a battle of heads versus tails. And in this case, when the Ankylosaurus swung around and clocked Triceratops in the side of the head, that big jugal absorbed it. But the Triceratops realized he was in trouble. And so he reoriented, went back, and did a full charge at mass speed. And as he put his head down to charge, he realized he couldn't flip him over. He took the damage from the spikes, and the Ankylosaurus began chopping the tree down. Cracked the leg, cracked the leg. That big head is heavy when you're humerus and your tib fibber shattered. Drops down and then just clubbed him like a baby seal. This fight was bloody in the end. And Ankylosaurus, covered in Triceratops gore, marched off to go to the finals against my beloved Diplodocus. Amazing matchup. And I think as much as my bracket's blown, the public got it right, and Ankylosaurus wins this 10 out of 10 times. Because even if he stabs him in the eyes are armored on Ankylosaur. He has no vulnerability.